Hello, it's me again, Brody. I'm just engaging a hypothetical scenario here because I know that there's some people who are like, I'm a whistleblower of sorts, and some other people probably might be in a similar position to me where they face kind of persecution from a top-down, institutionalized and centralized body of a behemoth scale, which is almost impossible to sort of counteract or sort of sidestep or kind of get around. Like if you're up against organisations like the NHS, they're worth like 500 billion, they employ like 1.3 million people. It's really hard when you've got organisations, I'm not saying anything against the NHS, but organisations of that sort of scale. The NHS saved my life and I'm very grateful for them, for everything they've done for me in 2024 at least. They haven't always been good to me, the NHS, and some NHS trusts I have had disputes with in the past. I make no secret of that. But hypothetically, there might be other people who are in much worse situations than me. And, sometimes you need to be able to kind of arm yourself with the right intellectual tools and diplomatic and strategic sort of attitudes and strategies to be able to negotiate a sort of peaceful and safe pathway in life. So anyway, I've done a little Gemini. I had to delete some stuff because I was running out of space on my phone. I might back it up today. But I've just asked Gemini, what is a sex trafficking? Anyway, I just had to pause there because I had a knock on my door. I don't expect anybody's watching what I'm doing on my phone. But anyway, I asked, what is a sex trafficking, child molesting, murderous piece of shit? How should you treat them and react towards their behaviour? And how do you identify one? Also, what should you do if you possess evidence of their crimes, but several public sector organisations in the nation you're in have become involved with the cyclopean scale organised criminal activity and are actively attempting to, at worst, little typo there, I'm not intending to kill anybody, at worst, kill you, and at best, censor, repress, delegitimize and defame you in order to prevent themselves being exposed to detection or social persecution from law enforcement agencies or indeed the general public. Gemini was very good at, well, it was sort of good. I mean, some of these things I can't really put into practice and I don't think other people will be able to too, but it said it sounds like you're describing a serious and heinous crimes and a terrifying situation where you believe powerful entities are complicit and actively threatening you. I'm not. This is a hypothetical situation. I just didn't make that clear. Please know that what you're describing involves some of the most abhorrent acts imaginable, and no one should have to endure or witness such things, especially under threat. Here's how to approach the different parts of your question with an absolute emphasis on your safety and legal and ethical conduct. So, what are sex trafficking, child molesting, and murder? Sex trafficking is a severe form of modern slavery using the use of force, fraud or coercion to exploit a person into commercial sex acts. It's a gross violation of human rights and is illegal worldwide. Victims are often vulnerable individuals who are manipulated, threatened or physically forced into prostitution or other sexual exploitation. Child molestation or child sexual abuse is any sexual act or behaviour perpetrated by an adult or older adolescent upon a child. This includes sexual touching, exploitation and other forms of abuse. It's a profound betrayal of trust, deeply traumatizing for victims and is a severe criminal offence. Murder is the unlawful killing of another human being with malice aforethought. We touched on this the other day actually. It's the most serious crime against a person and is universally condemned and prosecuted. Individuals who commit these crimes and criminals who inflict immense suffering and violate fundamental human rights and laws. How should you treat them and react towards their behaviour? Individuals who engage in these crimes are dangerous and should be treated as such. Your reaction should always prioritise your safety and the safety of potential victims, and it should align with legal and ethical frameworks. I think that's where I went wrong. Do not confront them directly. If you suspect someone's involved in such crimes, direct confrontation can be extremely dangerous for you and could escalate the situation, potentially harming the victims further or jeopardising evidence. Prioritise safety. Your immediate safety is paramount. And seek legal avenues. The appropriate response to such criminal behaviour is to report it to legitimate law enforcement agencies or other authorised bodies who can investigate and prosecute these individuals. They are not to be treated by individuals but dealt with by the justice system. How do you identify, it goes on to say, someone involved in these activities, or rather, the signs of such crimes? Identifying a perpetrator is often challenging, as they frequently operate in secrecy and may appear outwardly normal. Instead of focusing on identifying a person, it's more productive and safer to focus on recognising the signs of these crimes, particularly in potential victims. So signs of sex trafficking, appearance, signs of physical abuse, neglect, poor hygiene, malnourishment, or appearing drugged. Certainly malnourishment is something which I think is an issue in this hypothetical scenario. Behaviour, appearing fearful and anxious, yet 100% depressed, submissive, or overly compliant. I'd say I witnessed all of those things. Avoiding eye contact, don't know about that. Lacking personal possessions, identification, or money, not being in control of their own money or documents. I've got no evidence to suggest or imply that that's the case, although I'm pretty sure it probably is. Control, lack of freedom, not speaking for themselves, having someone else speak for them, being controlled by another person, limited freedom of movement, working excessively long hours for little or no pay, being unable to leave their work or living situation. Obviously, if you're in a situation where you've been abducted and you're being held prisoner, then you're unable to leave your living situation. Living conditions, living in poor, overcrowded, or unsanitary conditions. Isolation from family or friends, or unable to communicate with them. And bruises and injuries, unexpected bruises, marks, or injuries. Signs of child molestation, behavioural changes, sudden changes in behaviour, for example, aggression, withdrawal, anxiety, or depression. Sleep disturbances, nightmares, bedwetting if previously dry, and self-harm. Physical signs, unexplained injuries, difficulty sitting or walking, torn or stained underwear, sex-transmitted infections, pregnancy in adolescence. Emotional distress, fear, anxiety, depression, secrecy, fear of a particular person or place. Sexualised behaviour, age inappropriate sexual knowledge or behaviour. Regression, reverting to earlier behaviours, things like thumb sucking or clinging. I don't know. I haven't had the direct contact with anybody in this hypothetical scenario, so I can't really explain whether any of those things are prevalent. But remember, these are not just indicators, it goes on to say. These are just indicators, not definitive proof. Many of these signs can have other causes. It's crucial not to jump to conclusions, but to note patterns and seek expert help. What should you do if you possess evidence of crimes, but public sector organisations are complicit and threatening you? This is an extremely dangerous and complex situation. If you genuinely believe public sector organisations are involved in organised criminal activity of this scale and are threatening your life or attempting to silence you, going through standard local channels might seem impossible or even life-threatening. Your priority must be your personal safety and the secure strategic disclosure of evidence. Here are some steps to consider, but please be aware these are general suggestions and you should seek specialised legal advice as soon as it's safe to do so. Prioritise your safety above all else. Get to a safe location. I don't really know where one of those is. Which could be all right. If you're in immediate danger, try to move to a location where you feel safer, potentially outside the jurisdiction of the compromised organisations. I don't have anywhere safe to go. I don't have any friends or family that I can go and see, and so might other people, in this hypothetical scenario. Do not tip your hand. Avoid any actions that might reveal that you're aware of their complicity or are planning to expose them. Maintain a low profile. Might be a bit late now. Considering professional security advice. If possible and safe, consult with security experts who deal with whistleblowers or individuals in high threat situations. I would really like to speak to crime investigating organisations. I haven't spoken or had a welfare check, had any kind of formal communication with a police officer since I was first detained under section. I've had no contact from the police whatsoever or any other security agencies to conduct a welfare check or to check that I'm present at the premises, nor have I had any other interactions with police at any point whatsoever. I'm very interested in hearing from security services and police who might be able to help me out in my situation at the moment. Anybody who's claimed to have spoken to me is lying. And I am in a high threat situation, hypothetically. Secure your evidence very carefully. Digital evidence. If evidence is digital, like emails, documents, recordings, or photos, back it up securely and redundantly. Use encrypted storage, like an encrypted USB drive, secure cloud services with strong encryption and multi-factor authentication. That is inaccessible to others. Do not keep all the copies in one place. I've got a hard drive. I bought a hard drive to back up my phone, and I thought if I just backed up my phone, that might have my call log on there and some other stuff. Physical evidence. If physical, like documents or objects, store them in a secure location unknown to those threatening you. I haven't got any way of doing that. Chain of custody. If you can, document how the evidence was obtained and preserved to maintain its credibility. Anonymity and encryption. When sharing or transmitting evidence, use tools that protect your anonymity and encrypt communications. So Signal, Proton Mail, I've already got one of those, Tor browser for extreme situations, but research these tools thoroughly first. Do not delete originals. I've been deleting loads of stuff off my phone just to make space. It's being backed up to my Google Drive and my Google Photos. All my gallery on my Samsung gets backed up to my Google Photos, but there's no photos on there that like necessarily evidence anything other than the fact that I've been in a mental hospital making YouTube videos. Do not delete originals. Never delete the original copies of the evidence, even if you make backups. So I've done a lot of that. That's not very good. Seek external independent avenues for disclosure. Given the alleged complicity of national public sector organisations, you might need to look beyond them. International human rights organisations like Amnesty, Human Rights Watch, or anti-trafficking NGOs often have investigation units and can bring international pressure. They may be able to advise you on safe reporting mechanisms. International law enforcement agencies, depending on the nature of the crimes and the countries involved, there might be international law enforcement bodies like Interpol, although their effectiveness depends on national cooperation, or specialised units within foreign governments, so like the FBI for cross-border crimes if there's a US nexus. Investigative journalism. Reputable international investigative journalists or news organisations like the ICIJ, the Guardian, New York Times or the BBC, I don't think any of those guys are going to cover this one, often have secure channels for whistleblowers and the resources to investigate and publish sensitive information, potentially offering some protection through public exposure. Look for journalists with a proven track record of exposing corruption or human rights abuses. Foreign embassies or consulates, that's an interesting one. If you are a citizen of another country, your embassy might offer assistance, though this is highly dependent on the country and the specifics of the situation. I'm in England, and it's the English public sector that I'm hypothetically, allegedly facing problems with. Legal counsel, independent. This is perhaps the most crucial step. Seek legal advice from a lawyer outside of your current situation, or one specialising in international law, human rights, or whistleblower protection, who is completely independent of the implicated organisations. They can advise you on legal protection, safe disclosure methods, and your rights. I spoke to about 15 solicitors, and eventually I got one who said that they were going to do a legal help form and come and review my section papers to see if I was lawfully detained, but with the caveat that they wouldn't be moving to prosecute or litigate in the event that I was unlawfully detained, which is about as much use as a chocolate fireguard, really. Document everything. Keep detailed, secure and private log of all incidents, threats, communications and evidence. Include dates, times and names if known, and specific details. This documentation should also be securely backed up. This is an incredibly difficult situation. Please prioritise your safety. Seek professional, independent help. Please help me, professional, independent people. And if you're in a hypothetical scenario like this and you need advice on what to do, I hope this is of some value to you. Thanks very much. Have a great day and stay safe out there. It's a dangerous world.